Hi, hello! It is currently side quest time. I said in the last video on Sunday I was gonna do a side quest. So we're gonna do a side quest. Am I filming it the same day? Yes. Am I putting it up different days? Yes. I only have one day I could film. I might do two. I might do another video. I'm not sure. But I only have so many days I can film. The only day I have is Sunday. So we're gonna do this thing. This is the project we're currently working on. We're gonna be making this. We're gonna be making one of these with a whole bunch of different like excess scraps of material, and we're gonna be making it using this whole bunch of this, and we're gonna be talking about random things while we do it. Do I know what we're gonna talk about? Absolutely not. Will there be probably a freeze part where I'll either skip or figure out a way to speed through it so you can see the steps? Yeah, but we're just gonna work on this for a little bit here. We're gonna have some fun. I'm going to show you exactly what I do, so if you end up wanting to do something similar in the future, you can. You don't have to use excess scrapbook for this. You can use, you can even use a bag from like a restaurant and just start putting it on collage paper to make your own note cards and stuff. You have to put white paper on the back so you can write on it, but use book pages for this too. Book pages on book pages. You're mainly going for texture. Yes, you can get like Canva stuff, and you can do um, all sorts of different programs and things to get the same look of paper without having to do all this excess work. But we're not doing it just for the look. Whoa, ow, I hit on the thing. We're doing it for the texture, because if you just do a look, you can't feel the layers of paper as you're working, you know? And the whole point of this is to also feel the different like ups and downs of the paper. So what I do is I just mix mash these scraps. I like to do a layer of regular paper first. And I'm just pulling pages out of this little box here, this side. It's nothing complicated or hard. I can actually put my doggo here. Right there. If you're wondering why the lighting's a bit poor, it's a little cloudy outside. I'm fine with that. I don't really want to waste electricity if I don't have to. You can see what's going on kind of pretty easily, and it's just the same thing for the next half hour, 45 minutes here. Um, been playing a lot of Final Fantasy lately. There's always a game that you're playing a lot of, it feels like. Well, when you're a gamer. Um, it goes in spurts. I was also playing Fields of Mystery this morning, but I'm playing a lot of Final Fantasy. I got my tavern almost up and running. Yes, I do roleplay. It's fun to just imagine and have a little bit of time with somebody else and create your own world with them. You know what I mean? I like Dungeons and Dragons, so. And as you can see, this is already starting to come together quite quickly, because I'm blocking it in with these larger pieces. And then we're going to put the scrap pieces up to go to the edges a little bit to give a proper feel. It's a very long process, to be honest. But that's why we're here. That's why we're chatting. Another friend of mine recently talked to me about Discworld has made a role-playing engine, basically. Some rule sets to follow that also work well with D&D. And a majority of it's actually roleplay, which I'm kind of excited about. Gonna be looking into that more, seeing if it's something I want to do as well going forward. They also said they'll help me out by running a game or something. I'm a forever DM, so Also, there's no way to do this wrong. You're just filling in blank spots. You could just, and like I said, you could use anything. You could use wrappers on this if you want to do like a collage of like snacks and things. The big thing is you want one side to be designed and you want the other side to be white on the back so you can write on it. Preferably with a texture you can write on, like paper or anything with enough to hold onto the ink, you know? And then we just keep doing this over and over again until we run out of space. What's it talking about? Well, when I first got into understanding exactly what D&D was, because I heard about it on the grapevine, but I wasn't too interested in it because it just seemed too strict for me. I like a flow. I realized I'd already been basically running D&D campaigns before, but they weren't under the name of D&D. They were just roleplay. Because I did a lot of roleplay back when I was a kid, like on Gaia Online and stuff. It was fun. It's fun to like be a character in a different world, exploring the world that's there, you know? Having these things come up and then like suddenly there's a change. I just never did it with rules when I was a kid. It was always just this freeform thing that you do with your friends on Gaia. Need a long piece here. Stick that right there. Yeah. Um, been crafting paper basically my entire life. Yeah. It's been very nice. I live in the States. I know, the States. Uh, and there's a lot of things going on here right now. It's been causing me exuberant amount of stress. And I really don't know what to do with most of it. My partner is, not my partner, my roommate, there we go. My roommate is trans. So we've been very worried with the current market, the way that it is. Not the market, but just the existence of the world. And I have several trans friends throughout the States that I'm just as worried for. It's just a dark time right now. And I don't entirely, I have issues understanding where the problems are with people being trans and shit. It doesn't really influence other people. And it's kind of hard to indoctrinate somebody when the whole point of being trans, or the whole point of understanding gender, is that the whole concept of two-person gender just has trouble making sense. I understand that comes off very like liberal thinking, etc., etc. I wouldn't really call myself a liberalist. If anything, I'd call myself just a realist. I get the concept of needing to make sure that people are respected and shit, and everyone gets a fair shake when it comes to like programs and everything else, but a lot of misinformation is given as a wildfire before people even realize the truth. And it's a lot easier to manipulate someone on a wildfire than it is to reteach them about how the truth is, you know? People would rather believe something right away than be willing to alter their train of thought. It kind of sucks. But that's the main thing that's been on my mind lately. I've been doing more exercise. I'm very happy about that. We have a little treadmill. I've already fallen off of it once. It's it's a deer run treadmill, so it's like overweight people, which I am. And then it doesn't have any guardrails on it, so you have to be extra careful, which I'm not. And I was reading my phone, and when I was reading my phone, my whole body was like, oh, let's go in the direction you're reading your phone in, and I fell off to the left. And I didn't hurt myself at all. Like, my ankle is fine, foot's fine. It's really high up, so you don't really have to worry about, like, significant damage or anything. Put this here, and then we'll have to put something else there in the corner. Is there like a waste? Maybe one of these. And put in a long piece there, like this. I don't like that. Let's scavenge around for a minute then. Piece fell on the floor. Pick that up. With the heat, I've been dealing with more swelling lately. And I have my dog is thirsty. The swelling comes from just, I had an issue for a long time where I didn't have enough blood in my body due to yeah, that was weird. My microphone went out for a minute there. Anyway, my dog is drinking water. So I had completely forgot what I was talking about. Oh, the blood issue. I had an issue with gluten. Why is this lagging so bad? Well, we're gonna have to deal with that for right now. I had an issue with gluten for a little bit there. And one thing I didn't know until way after the fact was that gluten can lead you to bleed a lot. Pretty sure you know where. And I didn't know that. And then I started researching it myself because the doctors were like, there's nothing wrong with you. We don't know what's wrong. Maybe try to diet and exercise. That's what we want you to do. I was like, there's people my weight, my size, that have no qualms with what I'm having. They're not literally bleeding out. And then they're like, oh, okay. Still go diet and exercise. We'll do a colonoscopy. So they did a colonoscopy. Lo and behold, they found nothing. They were stumped. They were like, well, we don't know what this is. We don't know what it could be. And it was just frustrating because it's like, can you look at my health instead of my weight, please? And they were unable to do that. I have no faith in doctors. So I started thinking back to a time where the bleeding wasn't as big of an issue. And the only time I could remember it was the time when I was primarily eating mushrooms and rice. So something that cleared my gut and something that was gluten-free. And I was still eating meat and stuff. But like those were my primary thoughts. Like what's the big, because I have spells where it got worse than others, and I couldn't quite understand why there was versions where there were spells. Because if it was something related into stress, I would notice there was higher stressors, but I couldn't. So I was like, well, what the hell is this thing? And then as time went on, like I said, I started thinking. I was like, well, the only thing that I could think is the big change is the gluten here. So then I started doing some research, and I was like, can a gluten allergy cause you to bleed this way? Because I don't have, okay, can a gluten intolerance, not an allergy, can a gluten intolerance cause you to bleed this way? And it was like, yes, absolutely, 110%. And I was like, okay, then we're going to cut out as much gluten as I can for a month. 1 month. it lagged again. 1 month. And we're going to see what can happen here. And lo and behold, that 1 month, the bleeding had stopped. Then I continued it for a second month, and the bleeding had gone away completely. And now I still have gluten sometimes, but I try to keep it down to a minimum. And if I start seeing bleeding, I backtrack almost entirely to let my body heal and stuff. Because I still like bread. But I switched some things out. I'm not allowed to have French bread anymore, like the loaves of French bread from like Safeway and stuff. No more. That's out. But I am still allowed to have sourdough. Sourdough is way lower in gluten. The gluten just doesn't survive. And then I switched out my regular bread for like sandwiches and stuff because I don't really like sourdough for sandwiches too much. It's a little too hard. For potato buns. And then I switched out my my main sides, which were bread based, for rice. And instead of having a bunch of pasta dishes, I just replaced the pasta with rice as often as I can. And then there we go. It's that simple. That's all it took. And I've gained weight. Not too happy about that, but when I was doing the math, most of my weight has literally been gained from retaining blood inside me. And my pain has gone down since I started this type of fix. My stomach aches have been less. I feel like I'm under less stress. Probably because my body is able to spend more energy and time on emotional care than just physical care. And overall, I've just been physically happier. I've been bruising less. You know, it's just because they were so focused on the weight, they were unable to see the fact that it was an intolerance. And how was I supposed to know? Like, I was taught my entire life I don't have an intolerance because, you know, it's hemorrhoids, lose weight. It's this, lose weight. It's that, lose weight. But like, I had things stacking against me. I had physical pain from trauma when I was a kid. I had a lack of blood, so I was constantly fatigued. And they were just telling me to lose weight, lose weight, lose weight, but they weren't giving me any tools to help me lose weight. And it's like, well, eat less sugar. I was having less sugar. It's not like 90% of my meals are sugar. I've been cutting down treats my entire, existence. And the time where I didn't eat any treats at all, like high sugar foods, I still gained a bunch of weight. Doesn't make any sense. There's like this, I call it it's called like a fat stigma from doctors in particular, where they get so caught up in looking at the numbers on your weight. And I agree, like having a solid weight that's good for your bones and good for your organs and stuff is good for you, 110%. But that weight is different per person because of genetics and lifestyles. And it kind of needs to be tossed out the window when you're talking about those type of things. Just looking at the weight instead of looking at like the overall health of the individual, it just turns people off from wanting to seek help at all, because we spent thousands of dollars on these tests because we thought my life was on the line. I had half the quantity of blood I was supposed to in my body. They wanted to do multiple transfusions. I said no because I don't really like transfusions. I just took some iron supplement, had more iron-based foods in my diet, and I'm back to where I needed to be. I didn't need any of that. I know that it sounds weird, but I didn't need foreign blood in my system. It's not like I'm okay if other people get transfusions. That's fine. I just feel like transfusions should be a worst case, last case, like scenario thing. And I'm doing great now. I need to lose some more weight. I would love to lose some weight. I feel like I'm capable of doing that now. I've been gaining weight again. I'm still under 300, so I'm okay with that. But I'm getting too close for my own liking. And the reason why I'm gaining weight is because my body is like, oh, we don't need to burn all of these excess calories on creating blood anymore. Where are we going to put it? Well, let's store it for later, because this might happen again in the future. So, I can't really qualm my physiology for that. So, anyway, back on topic with that later. So we have this set up now. This is like the basis for it. Now we just pull it off of my... This is why I do it on here, is because it's easier to pull it up. We just give it a quick little pull off of the mat. Flip it over. Move the dog out of the way. Go over there. And then what we're going to do now is we're just going to cut off this excess here. Like so. We're not going to toss this. We're going to hold on to this. This is good fodder. Now remember, it's okay to make the thing thick. We're going for texture here. Yeah, I keep losing my faith in doctors. They're so obsessed with like one particular component that they're not even listening to me. Because when they're like, oh, it's this, then I'm like, I've been hearing that my entire life, man. They're like, well, you need to work harder. You need to do harder with this. I'm like, I don't think that's it, though. And then they just deny me. Pretty sure it's because I have a vagina, but, you know, like, who fucking cares? Anyway. So now we have this. And we got some pieces that go to the edge. That's the reason why I did this next. You want a couple pieces go to the edge so it doesn't look weird. So now we're going to put the dog back because it's cute. Yeah. Maybe put a little more in frame. Now we're going to go on ahead and do the rest of this. Watch it lag and be upset with the world. I'm using PrismLive. I would like to just use an actual camera or something in the future. Just so we have less of this lag that's going on right now. Because it's going through my router and back to my PC. So that's what the lag's caused from. But I just don't have the money right now to do that. And if I ever take off in Twitch, or if I take off here, there'll be changes. Like, I'll have more income to maybe pay for someone to craft me an avatar. Get a setup where I can have it take over my screen a little bit better. You know, stuff like that. We're not there yet. I don't know when we'll be there, but we're not there yet. I have to learn other things with the avatar programs anyway, so it's just getting a little bit in my way. Wow, look at that brightness. But yeah, I guess that's my main story for today. Maybe on these little side quest things, I'll give little lore bits about my life. The lore! I might be putting some gaming recordings up. That's a temptation. Be kind of fun. If I do, it'll be games like Repo. Something that are like one-offs. I doubt I ever want to do like a series of something. Post some Terminal Brigade. gets quiet. Just like I'm embracing the rage I'm feeling right now over the medical system. Like, those tests were expensive, and they literally came up shorthanded, and it just told me information I already knew. I guess it canceled out some things, like I didn't know if it was something else, but the colonoscopy was literal hell. I hated every second of it. It felt, I mean, I accepted it's the doctor's job to be able to do that stuff. I kind of have to trust them to do their job. But when it came up empty, I was like, what's the point? And I was like, am I going to die from this? Is there no way of going forward? And then, you know, at my end of my rope, I was like, well, what can I do differently? But it's been an ongoing trauma for, geez, like over a decade. Since I was in my teens, this has been a thing. And admittedly, it happened after I went through puberty, which is the correct time for it to happen. Your body goes through substantial changes. You gain allergies. And then for women in particular, after we go through our menopause phase, we also gain another set of allergies and things our body just can't handle anymore because our hormones have changed again. But why study the body of literally half of the population and just overwrite it as, oh, they're PMSing, you know? That's why I fight so much on this stuff. Fight to listen to people, hear them out, ask questions. Love, you know, just love them. It's okay to admit where you faulted. It's okay to admit when you've had problems. But listen to everybody around you. Give them a chance. There are more good people out there than there are bad. It's just the bad ones tend to stick more because of what they do to other people. Gonna get dark a little bit here again, but that's okay. And like when I have a better camera too, like you'll be able to see the writing better and stuff. Like this looks way cooler up close than it does from far away, but I don't really have a choice. I also plan on upgrading my microphone too in the future. Better sound quality. Have a better headset set up. So now I'm just adding a few more layers of this to maybe tie in some of those strip designs a little bit better. And like you're going for texture, so this is gonna feel amazing on the hands. So when someone writes on one side, you know, hopefully the person on the other side doesn't write too hard, or their pen's kind of like snatch a little bit through the white. But that's on them. I've talked for most of this. I don't have to like speed anything up. We're almost done. In fact, I can even show you what it'll look like once you cut it down into pieces. Get up, go to my cutter here in a second. Alright, I think that's good. I don't want too much. There is such a thing as too much. So that's what we made. We took the base piece. We added in pieces on top. I can show you what it looks like before and after. So this is the other half of that piece. Like there's a before and after. Like look at that. That's all it takes. You're just trying to design that. Let me go cut this down real quick. I'll show you what it looks like when you have it cut down to be card covers or notebooks. I'm planning on turning some of these into bookmarks. So it's already 6, so we're going to cut it to 4. I don't have a camera over here, and I can't easily move that camera, so you're just going to have to trust me. Whee! Well. Okay. So now I cut that down, and we have 4, well, we have 3 individual card pieces here that you can then all the way today. Then you can take your little edger here. I always suggest having one of these. Just go through and clip, clip. This piece is coming up a little bit. Let's get through that glue. It's alright if this happens. Just smash it back down in there. This one. I do it with the other side here. So like that. Then you grab your little ink thing over here. I usually like to ink the back first. Like that. This is a little bit too heavy for me. We're going to liquid up a little bit of... That's a little bit better. That's one. I know we're going start to finish here. We're going to make 3 note card pieces right now. We got this. Now we'll do number 2. Almost there. It's 2. Do number 3. Doing great. I can see the time on my video. I can get this done in 35 minutes. Which that's like grabbing the sheet of paper, talking a bit about it in the background. A little bit of excess conversation. Going good. Fantastic. I guess the point of knowledge this week is trust your gut. Literally. And remember that you, in the end, are the person with most knowledge about your health. And if, as bad as it sounds, even fight the doctors. Like, just fight them. They don't understand. And if you have Munchausen syndrome, I get that's a thing. And you need to be, like, talked a little bit about it, etc. Like, I get that that's a thing. Sure, you're going to need help. But at the same time, you can't really get that help if you're not also talking about it and fighting a little bit with your doctor to make sure that your diagnoses are being properly taken care of and looked over. You know? Like, look at that. Look how cool those are. And we just made that. 35 minutes. Took a little bit of time, but we went from point A to point Z. Like, we went from start to finish here. And look. You see that in the junk journal? Doesn't matter what type of junk journal it is. And each one, even though we made this all on one sheet, looks unique. And that's like the best part of it. You know? Because like this came from here. That's where those pieces met up. See that? You flip it over, you have no idea. You see some similarities, but like these two don't even look like it's from the same sheet. It's fantastic. But yes, trust yourself. Fight for yourself. You're worth it. It's hard, but you need to. Anyway, have a good day.